Hi everyone, good evening. This is Rahul, and let us begin with the analysis for this week. Now, what I want to do is, from going forward, I'd also like to take a look at the discussion which was done last week and how the market actually played out. It gives us also an opportunity to improve on our analysis. So, starting with the SBI. So, these are the stocks which were shared last week. You can see the one with the red ribbon. We were bearish on SBI. What really happened was this week we had an indecision, right? So market is still playing at the resistance. Mahindra and Mahindra, we're bearish. You have a bearish candle this week. Not much of a fall, but yes, the market did go down, so it was bearish. Tata Motors, we had a sell call last Friday. This week market opened with a gap down. It went up a little bit, but again is still bearish. Now we have a bearish Harami which is formed for the current week. Eicher Motors, there was a bearish signal last week given based on the rejection on the weekly chart, and you can see this week price gapped up but closed as a bearish candle, although there's also rejection. So here this week was bearish, but the following week I'm not that bearish. It could be sideways. Infosys, we were expecting a bearish move as per last Friday, but what we see is the market went up, made a bullish candle, and then got rejected, right? So this week, but it still went up. TCS, we were bearish, and it has made a dark cloud cover, almost an engulfing. ITC, as you see, we were bearish, price did come down, made an indecision. So not a strong move, but it did not go up either. Asian Paints, we were expecting a bearish move, priced, opened with a gap up, went all the way up and got rejected and closed as a bullish indecision candle. Titan, we were bearish last week. You can see the strong body dominating bearish candle. Cipla was a sell call last week. You can see price actually went up, spiked, got rejected and came back down. And Sun Pharma, again, we were bearish on this. You can see how the candle has closed, right? Reliance, we were again bearish, and it did go down this week. So decent analysis last week. I hope it stays the same. Let's start the analysis for this week. Now I understand that most people who watch this are intraday traders, so that's why this analysis will be valid for this week till next Friday, right? Based on how the candle closes next Friday, we will have an outlook for the following week. So don't take long-term investment decisions on this basis, but if you do have a long-term view, you can use this as an entry point for your long-term analysis. Let's begin with Nifty. You can see we have an indecision. This week 12,000 was tested, which was the resistance you're looking at, and we have an indecision closing at the resistance. So there should be a downward move retracement. The reason being, on the daily chart we can see a strong reversal signal. There was a gap up and a gap down, right? So expecting Nifty to be bearish this week now. And similar view on Bank Nifty. We will start with the weekly chart. This is the indecision candle again at the resistance. Daily chart, you can see there was a spike up and a strong rejection again at the resistance, right? So expecting both Nifty, Bank Nifty to be bearish this week. Now let us begin with the analysis for this week. I'm just going to remove these for the last week so that there's not much of a confusion. We will mark them freshly for this week. Let's start with Axis Bank. Now on the weekly chart, if you see, we have a dark cloud cover, just candlestick analysis. This is already a resistance. You can see the previous resistance here, and we have a dark cloud cover formation at this level. So this week you can expect Axis Bank to be further bearish. So downward move on Axis. Bajaj Finance. Now here I see that there was a gap up opening, but the candle closed with a rejection. You can see the gap up, priced, opened with a gap, went all the way up, made a new high, but got rejected at the resistance. So although this is a strong upward move, but you can expect some retracement or correction in this week. Okay, I'd like to especially talk about Yes Bank, because a lot of people are buying Yes Bank with the hope that this is the bottom and they can ride a strong upward move. So the view on Yes Bank is that this week it should be sideways. Price is not strongly going up. There's an indecision candle formed and we are at a resistance, so mostly it should stay sideways. Now you can see there was a downward move, and then downward move came to an end and price starts to consolidate a little bit, which would be clearer on the daily chart, right? So has the bottom already been made? Maybe, may not be, but definitely not a strong upward move. You can see strong resistance here. So sideways move is what you can expect on Yes Bank. So if you are trading on this, make sure that you sell at the resistance. Try not to buy at the support yet. So banking sector is weak for this week. Moving on to, these are the stocks from the banking sector. Now moving on to the automobile sector, let's start with Bajaj Auto. And on the daily chart, you can see price has gone up. We have a resistance being tested twice, 3286, and the market is not showing bullish momentum anymore the way it was moving earlier. On the weekly chart, you can see indecision candle after this bullish move. This is a good resistance area, so I'm expecting a downward move, at least a pullback, a retracement from this level. So I'm bearish on Bajaj Auto for this week. If not bearish, at least sideways, but definitely not moving up. Stronger signal is what I've seen on Maruti. So if you take a look at the Maruti chart, you can see this is a very good resistance. If you zoom out, it gets clearer, right? This is a good resistance. On top of it, we have a very strong body dominating bearish candlestick confirmation on the weekly chart, right? Which is a very strong signal. So if nothing, you can at least expect the market to test the next support level at 6558. So this week should be bearish. I'm not sure if the target can be met this week or will it take another week, but I would be on the selling side of Maruti. If you take a look at the daily chart, price actually gave a confirmation a few days ago, but it's still not too late, right? So we can expect the market to continue moving downwards from here. Tata Motors is looking more like a sideways move, but we have a bearish harami which is formed, which is again a strong signal. So I would not be surprised if you see the market testing 139 this week. I would be on the bearish side selling Tata Motors. So automobile sector definitely looks weak, but not that weak that you could sell every single automobile stock. Most of them are bearish. The ones which are giving good signals are Maruti and Bajaj Auto. Now let's move on to IT. Let's start with Infosys. Last week we were expecting the market to fall, but it actually went up and got rejected. Now what you see here is the market testing the resistance and then getting rejected from there. So strong rejection at the resistance. Now if we move to the daily chart, it becomes more clear, where you can see the resistance clearly here. This is a strong resistance level. Price tested this level a couple of times, was playing in this range, and on Friday, which is today, we got the bearish signal confirmation. So I would be bearish on this with my stop loss just above 733, trying to trade the downward move for this week. TCS, this is a daily chart, but if you see, we have a strong weekly confirmation. Last week itself was a rejection, and this week we have the bearish engulfing. So I would not call this engulfing, it's just falling short of an engulfing. But we have a strong body dominating bearish candlestick confirmation. So this makes sense. You can see upward move, then price consolidating. At least a retest of 1926 is what is expected on TCS. Now let's take a look at Infratel. I'm bearish on Infratel again. Last week we had this strong rejection, last to last. This week bullish move with a rejection, and now you can expect the downward move to continue. The reason I'm more convinced is because of this vertical drop, pullback, and now a bearish confirmation. So if you check Fibonacci, this should be about the golden ratio, 61.8. Yes, so if you see, this is exactly where 61.8 is getting completed. That's why I'm bearish on Infratel. Moving on to Hindustan Unilever on the weekly chart. This week you can see the strength of the engulfing candle. So yes, it has been in an upward move, but this was a vertical move, and now we have a bearish engulfing which has engulfed the last 2 weeks of movement. So this week you can expect the market to continue its retracement. I'm not saying it's a change of trend, but there is a strong retracement that can happen. I see the next support only at 1867, right? So you can try and benefit from this move. Okay, now let's take a look at ITC. That's a weekly chart. You can see the resistance here, which has been tested so many times, and again in the recent price action. Now on the daily chart, it gets clearer. We have the bearish engulfing. We had a breakout on the downside, then price went up, tested the resistance multiple number of times. So expecting a good drop, and the good part about ITC is that it has not yet fallen. So a good move is pending, which can be captured on ITC. Asian Paints again, the previous resistance was tested. We have back-to-back rejection on Asian Paints. Let's see the daily chart. You can see price is consolidating here, but today we had a good bearish signal. So I would be selling Asian Paints, trying to capture the retracement. That's it. Everything is looking bearish, and we have a lot of signals this week. Britannia. So consumer sector again looking weak. Britannia last week again itself was a rejection, and this week a confirmation. Right, so if you consider the last 4 candles, you can also call this evening star, but let's not get confused with the names of the candlesticks. The idea is that we are looking at a strong downward move on Britannia in this week. Similar view on Nestle. We had back-to-back indecisions followed by bearish candle. closing below the low of the indecision candle, right? So that's our signal to sell. Titan continues to stay bearish. You see the strong double top and now the confirmation. So next target would be the support at 998. So 1000 is actually the psychological level. These levels make a lot of are very important while trading. So you should be seeing 1000 being tested very soon because of it being a psychological level at a strong support. So consumer industry is again bearish for this week. Now let's move on to Pharma, which is strongly bearish. I see that both Cipla and Sun Pharma are looking very weak. It's a good opportunity in Cipla. You can see a retest of the previous support exactly at that level. We have a rejection and we have the candlestick closing at the low. So you know that we need to target 391 in the next coming weeks. So Cipla is a pretty good selling opportunity that I see. Sun Pharma. Same market been trading at the resistance. Now you see a slight gap up but closing at the low. So I would call this not really a strong dark cloud cover, but it is still a bearish confirmation because it's at the resistance. If this was after an uptrend, I would call this a dark cloud cover. But again, let's not get confused with the names. The idea is that this is giving a bearish signal. First target would be the nearby support at 375. Let's move to BPCL. You can see the confirmation, lower low, lower close. Today's candle is closed below the low of the previous candle, made a new low, and it's a body dominating close. We had this strong upward move. This is time for the pullback or the retracement or correction now. So first target would be 450, which is a nearby support. Now let's take a look at IOC. Similar view, targeting 116, bearish. You can see the strength of the candle, and I think most of the movement that you see for this week, okay, this entire week it has been falling. Maximum movement happened on Monday, but the week closed at its low. So it is good to assume that the low can be tested. Very strong probability of the low being tested. ONGC. Similar view, you can see price did a pullback also. Just checking how much the pullback was. 50% pullback, rejection, body dominating, bearish candle closing at the low. Also closing below the low of the last 2 weeks. So a lot of signals, price closing below 38.2 Fibonacci resistance also. So indication that the downtrend should resume from here. Let's move to Reliance. We had a reversal last week. That's why we were bearish this week. We had a bearish candle this week. Now we have indecision. So this could go sideways or this could do a retracement, but not much of a support, like not much of a target. So I would still expect the market to be sideways here, or I would not trade it. I'm not sure if we can expect this level because we have support right at 1416. If this support breaks, then it would make sense to target the next support at 1226. Coal India, very strong rejection that you can see at a very good resistance. Now, to get this clearer, we will shift to the daily chart. Sometimes daily chart gives you a much better understanding of the market. You can see this was the support which broke. It was retested, price fell. Again, it was retested multiple times, and now we are getting confirmation that the resistance holds good. Price is not able to break through the resistance, so you can expect the lows to be tested, starting with the first target of 182. UPL, you can see price gap down. Okay, it was not updated. Yeah, so UPL, you can see we had the high being tested, and then the market falls to the low, and now at the support, indicating further downward moves that you can expect. This is a daily chart which just broke out of a consolidation, so I would not be surprised if we can see 498 in this week itself. And now let's take a look at some of the other stocks which one of my friends wanted me to check. Let's start with GAIL. Weekly chart, you can see that price is showing bearish movement, but we have support at 122. Now let's see what daily chart suggests. So price fell, got into a consolidation. Now it has not yet broken out of a consolidation, so I would expect the market to test the lows first at 123 and then 119. Once this is broken, then the downward trend resumes. Ashok Leyland has been struggling at this level. We had a reversal last week and an indecision this week, so still expecting it to fall. But first, I think the low needs to break. So first the market needs to break out of this range of 73, 74 range. Once this is broken, you can see a faster move. We are still at a very good resistance. There was a breakout, pullback, and the resistance has been tested multiple number of times. So you can expect a drop anytime. It is safe to keep the stop loss above 83. Vedanta. So this, we've been on bearish direction on this for a while. You can see the resistance is already marked, the trend line. Now it's showing signs that the downtrend should resume. So I would be bearish on this. We also have a weekly gap up, closed bearish with a strong rejection. That's a very good signal that further bearish movement is what is expected. Tata Motors, you can see a strong move last week, and this week very small candles. So that's a bearish Harami pattern, indicating downward move is what is expected on the weekly chart. So price is not going up. It is clearly given signs that at the resistance the market is getting exhausted. First support, immediate support is at 149. One that is broken, that is, we are at 138. So definitely bearish, but be careful of the supports. We have nearby support levels, so you would have to check the candlestick once the market reaches the next support. LIC Housing Finance, we can see we had a very strong rejection on Thursday and indecision today. Overall, the move seems to be bearish, so I am again expecting downward move here, but it needs to first break the recent support. So we have indecision after a breakout at a good resistance, right? That's what it is. But you need to wait for a confirmation here, and the confirmation would be at least a body dominating close of this low of 432.5, but direction still bearish, right? So that brings us to the end of today's analysis video. Now what I've observed is that everything is bearish. We have so many sell signals, We were bearish last week also, but this week it increases, right? Last week we had say about 7 or 8, I think. Now we have much more. So there should be a big fall is what I'm expecting. So at least don't try to be on the buying side, or if you are buying, be careful with a tight stop loss. Also, when you're selling, do not get overly aggressive with the selling, thinking that it's a clear sell market, so let's go with a huge amount. That always backfires. Even if the market falls, you get punished. So play with your allocated risk and make your own judgment apart from using the comments or the view that we have, right? Also, please share your views with us. If you feel that you have a different perspective, we'd be happy to know that as well. That's it for now. See you guys next week and safe trading. Bye bye.